Welcome back, happy hempsters. We are here to talk about all kinds of fun stuff again today. Thank you for listening to us. We appreciate you. My name is Dee Dee Taylor. I am your, I'm going to say Cannabis Queen now. I think I might have to change it to that.
You're always going to be the Hemp Queen.
Oh, probably.
And I'm Beth Bonatti. I'm Cannabeth.
She is our Cannabeth. She's my favorite Bethy. I call her Bethy, though, just so y'all know. So call her Bethy.
Yeah. So I think today we're going to talk about some latest research on more of the medical side, I think. You know, cannabis has always been taboo in Western medicine.
Right.
So, moving forward now, even though it's been used for thousands of years for medicine, thousands and thousands of years. So, I don't have a lot of published research from 1,000 years ago, but now we're getting some.
We're getting
slowly
there. Yes,
but surely.
we are.
But I love, I used to be a registered ICU nurse, so I love seeing nurses finally being able to speak up for their patients and promote cannabis. So the American Nurses Association, which represents over 5 million registered nurses nationwide, strongly supports the currently accepting medical use of cannabis to alleviate disease-related symptoms and side effects.
I think that's wonderful.
I know. And, so
they should be able to use it too, for crying out loud. Because nurses work their asses off. Oh my gosh.
None of them will use it because they are so terrified of testing, and you've spent way too long getting that license, that education to risk it, and I hate that for them.
I hate that
many
too.
of them turn to alcohol. There's a lot of nurses that use a lot of alcohol.
I bet there's a lot of prescription abuse as well.
Pills too. Exactly, because
and you guys are on your feet for hours and hours and hours, and you can't even potty, and you can't even eat. I mean, I respect the hell out of nurses. My mom was a nurse's aide, so she did the same kind of stuff. But I knew I was not cut out to be a nurse. I think the caring part I could do, but it's that exhaustion level, and you got to keep going.
You don't have a choice.
For people that are mean to nurses, shame on you.
Oh my gosh,
I'm just going to say it, shame on you, because they're there to help you. Exactly. Even the ones that are a little short with you, they probably had a really bad day, so you still need to be nice to them. I'm just telling you. Aunt D is telling you, be nice to your nurse.
Yes, because they're the ones that.
And you know what's funny too is that I always like to see the nurse practitioners.
Yes. Oh, I know.
Some of them are way smarter than doctors.
They will give you more options. Usually,
they take their
time with you.
I love nurse practitioners.
I do 100%.
But go on.
I'm sorry. No. But they are saying this in support of moving that cannabis to a Schedule 3. So they have urged.
I'm sure that they don't have people coming into their ER with cannabis overdose deaths and have to issue Narcan to them.
Or somebody has abused alcohol their entire life and is in liver failure and all the other things. Alcohol consistently has a higher rate of abuse than cannabis. That's proven. And nurses have long known through firsthand experience that patients that cannabis holds legitimate therapeutic value. I mean, they're just seeing it, especially, California, I think, was one of the first to get medical. But I also want to mention that a letter authored by 25 Republican members of Congress to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland called upon the administration to maintain marijuana as a Schedule I drug, in part because no major medical association has supported the use or legalization of medical marijuana. And that is just not true. So now you've got the Nurses Association. A supermajority of practicing physicians believe that cannabis has medical value, and over a quarter of physicians nationwide have recommended medical cannabis to their patients. So that's just a flat out lie. I mean, we have doctors that come in here.
We have doctors that refer
their patients to us.
And thank you for that.
Yes, just not true. So, no medical value.
Well, it doesn't surprise me, though. You've got a lot of people that they're
getting paid to say that.
They're getting paid to say that because Big Pharma's footing their bill, and they're super PAC and all that good stuff. And politics, I will not discuss on this.
It takes our happiness away.
It does. It does.
It does. So
we deal with a lot of local politics, and I am not a fan at all. I don't like being lied to. I don't like being used in the system. And there's just a lot of shadiness that goes on when it comes to politics sometimes. And it's hard for people to see past things. And sometimes people just forget about common sense.
Science, truth, common sense.
Yep. So, especially when it comes to cannabis, because this, I mean, even back in the 70s, when a complete criminal was our president then, he's the one, it was his cabinet he's the one that wanted it to be made illegal. So we're still following that
from
bullshit from way back
50 years ago.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously down in the 30s and stuff too, when it all really started. But
that was based on racism,
and that was all about racism.
Yes, so.
And then with Nixon doing what he did, and then his own researchers were like, "There's nothing wrong with this."
Oh yeah, they turned it in. They said, "Let's do these studies," but it was, and they ignored all the studies,
all of it,
and
and did what he did, and we still stood by that. That's the one thing that I never understood.
This long.
Through. I mean,
lies.
It's just yes. People will believe the first lie. They don't always believe the first truth, but they believe the first lie. So then they take that as it being the truth, and it's not. 9 times out of 10, it is not.
Yes.
So
moving on to the reasons why they're trying to keep cannabis out of the hands of adults. There was another research study done with young adults. Now, this was on metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is a cluster of risk factors that includes unhealthy cholesterol levels, your abdominal fat, your fatty liver, heart disease, adult onset diabetes. That's your metabolic syndrome. Sorry, we got messages coming through. And I love this. It was nearly 4,000 young adults studied from ages 18 to 25 that they found these cannabis consumers had lower waist circumference and lower BMI compared to the control group. So overall, current cannabis consumers possess 42% lower odds of having metabolic syndrome. 42% lower odds of getting these diseases as adults using cannabis between the ages of 18 and 25.
That's pretty damn interesting.
That is very interesting.
Probably should have used it more then.
I know. I mean, I know that my daughter was overweight. She was on some antidepressants, things like that. And she started weaning off that and going to cannabis. She lost weight. I mean, so many different, things happen. So, that's something to really think about. We should not be looking at this like, oh, you're starting this young and it's going to harm you. That maybe if you learn how to use it safely at this age, it could actually be beneficial for your health in the long term.
Could be beneficial
because you're not using alcohol. A lot of people, this
that's
age
where you
group,
get the fatty
that's where you get fatty livers and your increased cholesterols. But another amazing thing about this study, and I will post these on our description, that non-Hispanic blacks who acknowledged consuming cannabis at higher rates than other subjects were least likely to suffer from metabolic syndrome.
I think that's awesome.
Right. I mean, this is just, not necessarily just younger adults, but just a general population having better health.
I don't kill anybody from using mine.
Right. I know. It saves other people. Yeah. observational studies previously reported the association between cannabis use and lower blood pressure and decreased rates of obesity. Even though we talk about the munchies and the stoners.
I know, that's what I was just going to say, but what about the munchies you get?
Right, but maybe, feeling happier gives you more energy. You're moving more.
They say using cannabis before, we've talked about this before, exercise is phenomenal for your body.
Right.
So which makes sense. I can't use that, right? I usually go to the gym in the mornings, but I can't do that in the mornings, that makes sense.
Right, I know.
And I personally would rather have a cannabis drink than an alcoholic drink.
Right.
Because I just feel like complete dog shit anytime I have any bit of alcohol. And I don't know if it's just my age, because I'm getting up there.
Right.
And just how
or you have more control
reacts.
on cannabis. You don't feel as out of control or,
Well, and I don't have any of the side effects from the alcohol.
Crappy, I remember feeling
exactly. And my legs, I get horrible cramps in my legs.
Right.
So it's just not worth it to me.
Exactly. So now we have great cannabis cocktails. So come and see us. It's a good substitute. Another great study from the CDC shows that teen marijuana use has fallen over the past decade.
What?
So it's not about keeping it out of the hands of children
and teenagers.
The more we are legalizing this, the less likely.
Which makes sense.
Because it's not cool anymore. It's not
cool.
taboo.
Like my parents are smoking. And grandma's using it. So, I mean, it makes sense.
I know. Isn't that kind of funny?
To me, it makes perfect sense.
It's just shocking, though.
And cannabis is probably a little bit harder to get than alcohol is.
Right.
I think most families have alcohol in their house.
Oh, yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I think that's easier to get. I know one girlfriend, Tammy, and her parents always had like some type of bourbon or vodka or something. And then we'd fill it back up with water.
I know.
All the time. I can't even remember how. God, there was a lot of those that we did that. Oh,
poor
crazy.
Parents.
I know, poor parents.
So sad.
And I'm like, oh, this tastes good, but it isn't getting me drunk. Well, gee, I wonder, because it could be watered down.
If you got teenagers in the house, that could be why. Yeah, so male students showing a more marked drop in marijuana use over the past decade. And this is, from 2013 to 2023 is this study, rates decreasing from 22 to 19%.
That's great.
So the decline in teen cannabis use is contrary to the fears of legislation opponents who have continually warned that ending prohibition of marijuana for adults would trigger large increases in youth consumption. Yeah. Complete opposite. Complete opposite.
That does not surprise me.
And then the alcohol use, but this is all good for all, substances because alcohol use has dropped, illicit drugs have dropped, opioid use has dropped. So these children, these teenagers are learning and seeing that some of these things aren't so great for them, and they've probably seen family members dying of certain things. So
I think my family got that horrible wake up call. When my aunt, when my niece passed from the heroin overdose, because
a lot.
Yeah.
Families have been experiencing that and seeing
unfortunately. And I feel for anybody that's lost a family member due to drug overdoses.
I know. And alcohol abuse. I mean, it's just as bad. Also in this Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs found that secondhand harm caused by marijuana use is far less prevalent than that of alcohol. So just think, watching an alcoholic mother compared to a mother using cannabis, two totally different personalities.
I was just about to say,
one's like, let's play, and the other one's
like, let me beat you.
Right, exactly. Or just horrible. So I love these actual studies where they're actually doing the research and not just making shit up. Too. So I love it. It's just, we knew that all along. The more you put things, behind the counter.
Yes.
ask for ID, just like you do alcohol.
Well, and the weird thing is the cabinet said it just has to you have to 21 and up, sell to 21 and up, and then you have to deter theft. So the law says behind the counter, but then the cabinet says that.
Okay.
So in my head, I still say behind the counter.
Right.
Because even if you make your store 21 and up only, they still steal.
Yeah.
Hello. That's so fucking stupid. Yeah. So you need to put things behind the counter to keep it away from the people that are going to come in and steal. Because we've had people come in and steal from us.
Right. So,
granted, they're just getting a pair of earrings or something else like that. But still, it's just because you make your store 21 and up doesn't mean that you are going to thwart.
Well, no, and we don't want to do that because, we do have people that need to stop in with their children or, we're more of that family kind of friendly environment.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's just,
yeah. I just thought that was kind of weird because I had somebody arguing with me about it. And I was just like, you might want to read the actual law and not just the regs.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
There's a very big difference.
Yeah. If you have stuff THC sitting out for somebody to grab.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you we're only a 21 and up store.
Right.
Come on.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and that's the same thing with it being in gas stations.
Right.
Because their stuff wasn't behind the counter either.
Right.
So anybody can walk in those stores.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
And our gas stations carding for their
THC
products.
They don't even card for vapes.
I doubt it. Yeah.
Well, because they know that. No. Then the crazy thing about gas stations, a lot of times you get to know the people that work there because you're going in there all the time. Like it is your neighborhood gas station. So you go in there to get whatever it is you get, the junk shit that they sell. And I'm talking about food because it's horrible for you.
Yeah.
But so they get to know them, so then they don't card them. So then if they bring a friend in that's underage, they ain't gonna card them either because they think they're one of your buddies. So I used to work in that industry a long time ago, and they were adamant about carding, but they had also been busted for not doing it.
Right.
So
and they only had to worry about alcohol back then.
Exactly. Yeah, cigarettes. God, we bought them for our parents.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Cigarettes.
I'm getting them for my dad. Sure. Okay. I was not really getting them for my dad.
I know. That's crazy.
What else you got?
I got one.
She's a plethora of information.
We'll see how far we get here.
Okay, I love it.
Breastfeeding.
Okay.
And cannabis use. Okay?
We've definitely had people ask about this.
A lot of people do ask, and I always say, CBD's okay, because you're going to need that to help with your hormone regulation.
Oh, for sure.
Mood, all kinds of different things, help your body recover after birth. But, THC, it's always been a no-no during breastfeeding just because we had no research to show it's your baby. You don't want to get your baby high.
Right.
Nobody wants high, baby.
I think they just sleep.
Right. Well, yeah, sometimes maybe. But this is, so just to say where we are as a nation, as of April 2024, recreational marijuana is legal in 24 states. So that's nearly half of the country is rec now, and medical in 13 states. So
an additional.
So, it's going to come up a lot, where mothers are going to have that question. Is it really dangerous? So they did a small study. This is not a very large study, but it is one of the first. So the study indicated that only minimal amounts of THC is transferred into the breast milk. So on average, just 2.5% of the THC that they consume reaches the baby. So 2.5% of how much you consume. So if you do 5 milligrams, that's got to be very, very, very minimal.
And when I would have breastfeeding moms come in, usually they would come in to see me because they had horrible postpartum depression.
Right.
And my theory, even though obviously I'm not a doctor, my theory is because they were breastfeeding and all of their cannabinoids were going to the baby through the breast milk.
Right.
And once I suggest that they take the THC free gummies, I've had a few women come back in and say like, you saved me.
Oh, wonderful.
And I know it just makes you cry because they come in with that little newborn. Of course, Sandy loves all the babies. But they're just doing so much better.
It's so much stress having a baby and that depression and anxiety and
it's hard.
So
and it's what's really sad is that I've got family members that would not do it. Even though they were breastfeeding and then they had postpartum, I'm like, I promise you are going to feel better. I would never suggest something like that.
I know
that would hurt.
Right. That's the way I
someone
feel
in
about
my family.
It. Exactly.
And I don't want to get offended by it because I know being a new mom, you run a lot.
You're scared of everything.
You're scared and you run, risk this, risk that. And I'm just like, but I would never do that.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and THC free.
Right,
so you're not going to get high, and the baby's not going to get high.
Right.
But you may feel a hell of a lot better with that CBD in your body.
So yeah, you could definitely use just CBD alone. Definitely, or CBG alone.
Yep. We got a great CBG one. Yes. Our strawberry fields, that would be great for nursing moms.
Right. So there are options.
Yeah.
But
now what about the pregnancy thing? Did you find some information about that?
So definitely I would say not during pregnancy. I just really, because what I've read previously is your baby is developing their endocannabinoid system in vitro. So if you're adding cannabinoids to your system, they could kind of fill up those receptors or teach that endocannabinoid system that's developing that it may not need to develop more because it's got plenty of cannabinoids. So, we're talking about cannabinoid deficiency, and that's why we're ingesting, but we make our own endocannabinoids.
We do.
So you want that developing fetus to develop a good, healthy endocannabinoid system on their own without
sense.
Adding the phytocannabinoids.
That makes sense.
So, if you really had to use
mostly for the nausea,
a product, just CBD alone or something during pregnancy,
without the THC,
but not a lot of it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. But so, the key findings were, the peak THC concentration in breast milk occurs 1 hour after use. So if you're waiting a little bit longer after using before you breastfeed, that's going to decrease that.
There you go.
Right.
Just pump before and then go enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do those things. Right. They did mention that. Use of pump milk.
Because that's what you're supposed to do if you drink alcohol too.
Exactly. Right.
I'm sorry, but
because they do have a glass of wine, right?
Giving the baby alcohol,
same kind of thing,
right? Yeah.
And strain selection, so higher CBD and lower THC concentrations,
which are hemp products.
Exactly. So that's great. And then, they say raising children is demanding, and many mothers might seek relief through cannabis, which can calm anxiety and reduce stress. So it makes you a better parent.
Exactly.
And stress and cortisol is another thing, so because you get those elevated stress markers, and that can make it hard to lose baby fat, as well. So risk and benefits. Always with everything. Always. But so it's being researched that it's not as scary or terrifying. But they do
research on it.
They do test some babies for THC.
They do, so and I would not want anyone to lose their child either. I know.
Yeah, you do need to think about.
Scary.
So but that I don't know, minimal use, it's always up to the person. The last thing, since we did hit that,
funny I mentioned that.
I know, because this is just, I love this study. So CBG, cannabidiol, very similar to CBD in that, anti-inflammatory, but it is the mother cannabinoid.
It is the mama
first cannabinoid. All cannabinoids come from CBG. But the study at Washington State University and University of California, Los Angeles, assessed the use of hemp-derived 20 milligram CBG tincture versus placebo in 34 healthy volunteers. Investigators reported that CBG but not the placebo, was associated with significant enhancements in participants' verbal memory, as well as decreases in their feelings of stress and anxiety. And CBG is not associated with intoxication or impairing effects. This is the first human clinical trial to examine the acute effects of CBG on anxiety, stress, and mood. 20 milligrams.
Bitches.
I know. I love that. And we do have a CBG tincture now.
Oh, yes, we got a tincture now, too.
Yes, of just that CBG alone.
But I love our Strawberry Fields.
Yeah, Strawberry Fields has 25 milligrams of CBG.
And 25 of CBD.
Your full spectrum cannabinoids, too. So,
and it's low THC. So that way
yes.
you can still get the benefits from the CBG without feeling too...
Yeah, I mean, and not the placebo, you know, and they always say that with the marijuana, it's hard to study with a placebo because everybody can feel,
if you're getting higher,
can feel those effects,
right?
But CBG being non-psychoactive, I find that amazing.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I know.
I like that. I like that. So this was our research episode.
Yes,
just
keeping you up on all the latest.
Just a research du jour.
Yeah, be informed decisions.
It's important to know this stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're gonna dabble in it, I mean, you should at least hear from experts like ourselves.
Right. Because we turn to the experts to learn
exactly.
from. Right.
And yeah, we're constantly learning as well. I mean, I read something every day and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I did real quick. I want to throw this one out there. I read the other day about CBD for seizures, and they finally got good enough time and study on it, but it is phenomenal for seizures, which I've always known that just from my own anecdotal evidence. But now, and they use the pharmaceutical CBD. And I'm not saying the brand name because
it was probably super high milligrams too.
Yeah, it was. They kind of, you dose up kind of like how we do, how we tell people, but it was a super high dose. It was about 300 milligrams, all said and done, that they wanted you to take. And that's about what my husband takes.
Yeah.
His is 200 plus. So,
and then I saw something about the terpene L-pinene helping with decrease of seizures. Have you heard anything about that?
I've not.
I just barely looked at that. So terpenes, you know, that entourage effect, maybe the terpenes could actually have effect on your seizures.
And I will not discredit terpenes completely, but they do involve your oil factor. The oil factory. Thank you. I always mess that up. But it's all about the scent, and that's what gives marijuana its smell and taste. It's based on the terpenes. But for when a lot of people say like that, they'll get gummies from a place and they're like, oh, it tastes like chemicals. Well, those terpenes are flavors and scents are the same ones that are used in cleaning supplies.
Right.
So
and
that's why, and all kinds of things. But that's why you think that you think that's why it tastes like cleaner.
Right.
Because there's a limonene. Is it lemon?
Limonene.
Yeah. They use that in Pine Sol.
Right.
So you're going to have
the L-pinene.
L-pinene, or whatever. I don't know. But anyway. Terpenes do have a lot to do with your smell.
But they also do have, effects in your body because you get terpenes from fruits and vegetables.
You do.
So,
because I love citrus flavored stuff.
Oh, I know. And it does
like
help you feel
I like
uplifted.
Citrus scents more so than I do floral scents.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
So, but yes, and like I said, I won't discredit terpenes. I just
But
know
we need more research on, because what if it does certain things, help with different conditions.
So. And I also think that certain terpenes is what give things their indica or sativa or hybrid effect too.
Right.
So when you see products that don't have terpenes in it and they're labeled as a sativa or an indica, no, they're not.
It's just a lie.
That's bullshit. You have to have actual terpenes. And the worst part about it is a lot of hemp products that say they have terpenes in them, they're not true cannabis terpenes.
Oh, yeah. So it has to be CDT, cannabis-derived terpenes.
Yeah.
Because they can be derived from a fruit, vegetable, flower. Right.
Exactly. And there's not that many out there that are CDT. So just...
Our products are.
Yeah, you just need to... we don't have a lot of terpene-based products either,
Just a few.
Just a few, because I like most of our people don't like the taste of that
I know.
because it's skunky,
Yeah.
hempy.
Yeah.
I called it hippie.
Yeah.
Like hippie tasting. It's hippie
right,
tasting.
Right.
But just keep that in mind. It's, again, we learn, we teach. So that's the whole basis of our podcast and our business in general. But my name's Dee Dee. This is Beth. You guys come out and see us at 502 Hemp or at 812 Hemp. 812 Hemp does have a few more products that we don't carry because we can't in Kentucky.
With the terpenes.
With the terpenes and the THCA and the flower. So go see them. Go see our sister store in Clarksville. And if you have any questions, please reach out, share, like, follow us. We do have a BOGO sale going on right now. I don't know if it'll happen when this podcast airs, but if you sign up for our newsletter, and that way you can hear about all of our sales and all that good stuff. So that way you can be in the loop. But we appreciate you listening, and definitely keep it hempy and happiness out there. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.